and welcome to another Dualshockers discussion today, which I was completely shocked by. We got some really cool news coming out from Bethesda and Machineworks. There's going to be a new Indiana Jones game. Crazy. Along with me today, I, of course, have my good friend, Ricky Frech, our editor-in-chief up in Dualshockers. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm ecstatic because I apparently got prepared for this before I even knew this was a thing last month, and I'm very excited. And of course, joining me today, I have someone who reached out to me, said to me that he was the biggest Indiana Jones fan on Twitter. And so we're going to go ahead and put him to the test. I have Nathan Holler. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Doing really excited now. So, yes, we're here to talk about the fact that, yes, there is an Indiana Jones game. I'm showing you footage of it right about nowish. It's a thing. It's real. It's coming from Machineworks, which, of course, have done some of the previous, if I'm not mistaken, Wolfenstein games.
Yeah,
so they're continuing that trend of punching Nazis, so I'm very excited for that. I kept seeing that a lot this morning, and I'm like, Indiana Jones, he punches Nazis in 2 movies, but he's not all about Nazis. He could be about other things, but say la vie, everyone wants to punch a Nazi this month, so it's totally fine. I'm going to start with our Indiana Jones fan. When you first heard of this news, what did you think when you saw this?
I was ecstatic, man. I don't know how much you guys remember this, but before the Star Wars Force Unleashed game was announced and released, I don't know, over a decade ago.
Sure.
There's actually a previously announced game using that same technology for Indiana Jones, and I was very excited for that one. And ever since that kind of just went dormant and never really heard about it again. I've always been jonesing for, no pun intended, jonesing for a game with the Joneses. So see Indiana Jones coming back and with, like you said, Machine Games developing it with Todd Howard being a part of it too.
Yeah,
I'm more excited than I've ever been for Indiana Jones.
Ricky, were you a big Indiana Jones fan growing up?
It was definitely like I watched them all multiple times, but it wasn't like an obsession or anything. It was just kind of, something that my dad would put on and I'd watch every once in a while and then get scared when they ate the hearts or whatever happens in that one. It's really creepy.
Karima.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's like a second tier franchise for me, I guess. Like I like it a lot, but it's not, something I go back and watch all the time. Although my wife loves it. We have like a bunch of collector's editions back behind me.
Really?
Which you can't see because they're all covered up and stuff. Yeah. She's a big James Bond and Indiana Jones fan. So.
Oh, same, dude. I was about to say, I have the entire pop collection.
Quick question. Why does Indiana Jones and James Bond appeal to women so much on the scale that I don't understand? I think it would be everything that they would hate, but apparently no. Like, I had a friend over, and literally, all I know of her, that her movie taste is that she likes funny comedies, but James Bond movies. And I was like, really? James Bond? And then I showed her Indiana Jones, and she's like, cool, when are we going to watch the next one? And I've never got a response like that for a movie where I'm like, hey, we got to watch this. So we ended up watching all 4 of them. So there's just something about Indiana Jones and James Bond that like coalesces with each other. And we have 2 of those games that are both coming out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a huge IO fan, so I'm like, go ahead.
True. Oh, I was just saying, I don't know what it is. I mean, like, I know what it was for my wife. I don't know what it is for everybody, because my wife, it's because her brother liked them and she wanted to do everything her older brother did. But otherwise, I don't know what it is for all the other girls. I assume they're attractive. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the swashbuckling part of being like going on an adventure is cool.
Yeah, maybe.
To them, and it's not so much like, it's not as nerdy, which might be helpful. Where it's not,
I can see that.
Not Star Wars, although she likes Star Wars too. So my wife's an oddity in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah, I just watched the Daniel Craig Bonds with my significant other, and for some odd reason, I was more attractive when Daniel Craig was coming out of the ocean than she was. But hey, man,
to each its own, of course. So in the fact that this is coming from Machineworks and Bethesda, I would say some of the expectations of the game to be in terms of story quality, in terms of those games, I think are pretty high. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. What do you guys think of what like this gameplay would be? Like, far as I know, the games that I've played from them have been first person games. Are they going to break out of that mold, or do you think they're going to go something similar? Like, Also, we also have to give the obvious elephant in the room, comparing it to Uncharted, which of course has took its inspiration from both Tomb Raider and say, Indiana Jones. What do you expect this game to sort of look like? Ricky, what do you think this is going to look like?
I am very interested. I'm like, I don't know for sure, but I think they're going to go third person.
Okay.
I just think first person, like melee combat and trying to use the whip and stuff, is going to be really hard in first person.
Yeah.
Like, I could think of like Bulletstorm, which People Can Fly made for not Bethesda, Gearbox.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Gearbox back in the day. They had that whip, which was pretty cool, but I just think like it makes so much more sense. Plus, I think that with Indiana Jones, it's going to be important to see the character for a lot of people.
Sure.
So being in first person is going to take that away from you. And also, I mean, they did just put out a VR game, right? They put out a VR.
I think they did.
After Youngblood, Wolfenstein, yeah.
So, like, I'm excited for this if it's not a VR game. I mean, I like VR. I had Half-Life Alyx I think it was in my top 5 this year.
Sure.
But if it's Indiana Jones game, like I played those Star Wars and Immortals games, I don't think they're very good. So
they're not.
So I'm hopeful that this is like a big release and isn't like a small VR thing they're doing while they get ready for us to fight Mecha Hitler and Wolfenstein 3. But
they set the expectation too high for me at this point. If you're going to release a trailer and not immediately tell me that it's a VR game, so it's going to get my mind racing if it's going to be like a Indiana Jones. Like, good.
I don't think it will be. I just think it could be, and the reason I don't think it will be is because Todd Howard's involved.
Sure.
Yeah. If his name wasn't on it, which this is the first, I looked at his credits this afternoon. I was writing the news story.
Yeah.
And this is the first Machine Games he's been on the credits. So he hasn't been on any of the Wolfenstein games at all.
Interesting.
So I think that it probably is going to be a big deal. Like, not like what I mean a big deal is like a big AAA game, not some like kind of side project they're doing in between Wolfensteins.
Sure.
So that him being on it, I think, has me more excited than anything else.
I love that this morning because the way I found out was through Discord I have with Logan Moore, and he posted about it, of course. And one of the things he shared, and I shared it on Twitter, was the fact that there was a video of Todd Howard, and in the background was clearly the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
And I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, what is up with Microsoft just hiding things in the background so that way months later we'll find out, like, oh, there's the Xbox Series S, there's the Ark of the Covenant. I'm like, he clearly was showing us his ass, and literally we didn't see it for months. I mean, Nathan, what do you expect? What do you expect to see sort of visually or gameplay-wise for this Indiana Jones game?
I mean, yeah, like you said, the big elephant in the room is Uncharted. I think the way they're going to stray away from that is more hand-to-hand combat. The whip's going to be a big part of the game. Yeah. I mean, we kind of had a whip in Uncharted 4, but I think the hand-to-hand combat's going to be a big part of it. Also, I'm thinking about studios that were prominently first-person studios that went the third-person route, and my mind's going to Respawn with Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Machine has great storytelling. They know that they can write characters well. We already got the Nazi punching, the Nazi killing kind of already in their DNA. So when you look at all those things, I feel like they definitely can push it to third person. It'd also be very weird to have that hand-to-hand combat in first person. The only game that like I could even think of that mildly got it outside of the People Can Fly game we were just talking about is Chronicles of Riddick, and even then that was pretty choppy.
Sure.
So I think third person. I think it's going to be more adventure based. I would say it's more going to be like Tomb Raider than it is Uncharted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. Yeah, it would definitely probably be more Tomb Raider than Uncharted. Primarily, I think it's interesting because I've looked back at Uncharted as much as I love those games. There's a lot of just climbing that I think is unnecessary, and I don't want this game to fall in that same trap if they end up doing that. If anything, please use that whip as liberally as you want. Go ahead and swing me around things. That's totally fine. Or hook onto cars and being dragged on the road. Like, I'm totally cool with that. Like imagine that. Like imagine the scene from like Uncharted 4 where he's like on the truck and like being dragged through the mud. Like that essentially is just Indiana Jones, and Raiders. So they can do so much more fun stuff. Where do you think this game would take place in sort of the Indiana Jones timeline? If we're basing the fact that this exists within the movies, do you want this to be sort of before we meet him in like Temple, or do you want it to be like as old as, or not old, but as like after say like Last Crusade, so that there's characters that are involved that can be involved in the story?
I think with an original story, you kind of want a clean slate.
Sure.
Indiana Jones is like the big name, and you have Marion that returned. She was the original. I would call her a Bond girl because the Bond DNA in Indiana Jones is very much there. But we had her coming back in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and she was great. But I mean, for me personally, the fan service is Indiana Jones, and I would much rather them do something more original than try to just kind of ham-fist some characters that we kind of know and love. And that would lead me to something more in the Temple of Doom time. That was a prequel to the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that's a good time. He's already the Indiana Jones we know and love, so kind of go with the younger vibe.
Sure, I can see that. Ricky, do you have any idea where you would like at least this to be placed in?
I don't. For me, I don't think I really mind either way where it goes. I do like, part of me is like, are they going to try to do an origin story?
Sure.
Will they go that route? I don't know if they would do that. If they're like, my thought is if they do that, then like, will they try to make their own like Indiana Jones video game universe where they, he can break off from what he did in the movies? But I don't know. I mean,
well, there's so much room, right? I mean, the fact that you have obviously like The Last Crusade, which begins with a quote unquote origin of River Phoenix playing him, getting the scar, learning how to do the whip, getting the hat. Right. Even you have all that stuff, so they probably wouldn't go as they'll probably have to go a little further than that. But then again, there's also the history that's after Last Crusade, because I remember, because I watched literally all of them. So I watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull again, and he talks about that period of time that he does that is post World War II that I'm kind of interested in too. But at the same time, it sounds like they went on a more of a war torn thing, which I'm curious about. But at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily want that. I probably want to go more the adventure route. Looking at some of the footage, because I'm literally looping the video, there are imagery that's there that I'm wondering that's going to be indicative of the game, if they're subtle hints, or if they're just, hey, this is the mood board for Indiana Jones. And I see like a Mayan temple. I see some other like hidden story stuff. Ancient Circles is something that's popping up right. Oh, literally Todd Howard's name's in the trailer. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
It's on the book. That's pretty cool. But I see Rome as a ticket stamp for an airport. So I'm curious.
That's what I noticed.
So I'm wondering like how much of the history they're going to end up using, or which, what direction this character will go. And then my big concern, so the characterization of Indiana Jones, right? There's only been about 3 people that have actually played Indiana Jones. It is Harrison Ford, River Phoenix, and then whoever the young Indiana Jones for the TV show was. Yep. Now, granted, we all still think of Harrison Ford first, and we think of that voice. Right. We think of his swagger and who he is. Do they bring him for this game? Could he do it?
No,
Probably not. Not right.
With the way one is, I mean, that's going to be a lot of money getting his likeness in there, let alone his voice.
True.
Hearing that he doesn't even know what a Force Ghost is and doesn't give a shit.
Oh, it's bullshit. No, he's just fucking with people, I think, at that point. Here's my workaround. There is a really great voice actor, and who could do the capture stuff. His name is Anthony Gruber, if I'm not mistaken. He was the voice of Joker in the Telltale games. And he played the young Harrison Ford in a movie called Adeline. And he looks and sounds like him. Okay. I would love for him to do it, since everyone wanted, like, if they were going to do a new, if they're going to do like Han Solo, they wanted him as well. I know at one point. I think he'd be great to do it. But what do you guys think? Overall, do you who do you think will most likely be the titular role of Indiana Jones?
I think that's a good That's probably somebody cheaper. Probably somebody that can get him mocap.
I agree.
Yeah,
it is someone that is cheaper.
But yeah, someone who kind of like knows this industry, I think, is the best option. Looking at not movies, but games like the Spider-Man Insomniac series.
Sure.
I think they found really good success with it. I think it's Yuri Lowenthal, if I'm saying his name right. I might be butchering it. Getting people that like know this industry really well seems to be big success, and the likeness, that's going to be. If he looks kind of like him, go for it. But I'm totally down with them kind of just having their own look. It's just like my same like issues with like the new IO Bond game. I hope they kind of just, because that's going to be an origin story from what we know. Kind of just do what you want. We've had like 6 people play Bond so far, so it's just he's had brown hair, he's had blonde hair, he's had blue eyes, brown eyes. So I think if they just kind of stick with what Harrison kind of looks like, I'm all game for whatever they do.
For sure. At the very least, yeah, they can make their own version of Indiana Jones, and it would be the game version. When it comes to the movies, I'm like, all right, we can't recast him. But I think after you tell his final tale, that should be the end of it. So now I'm gonna show my whole ass here. I actually watched Indiana. So I watched all 4 of them. I watched them over Christmas. I watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I haven't seen it in like 13 years. And
it's
rough. Here's the thing. Going back to it 13 years later and sort of like caring less about Shia LaBeouf being a bad actor, like me thinking like, oh, Shia LaBeouf's not a good actor. I kind of think he is a good actor. I don't know if he's a good person.
Agreed.
I
think I think he was good in that, man. I don't think
No, I'm watching it and I'm like that, because that whole veil of like even Stevens and Transformers is totally gone now for me. Yeah. So watching him as Mutt Williams, was enjoying what he was doing. I enjoyed the movie more than I have felt in years. I hated the movie when I first saw it, and it's not until you get straight to the jungle part where shit gets really bad. And I'm talking like monkey swing in and fight the CG fights on the cars. Like that is where it's not, to me, that's not Indiana Jones. And the whole rest half of that movie is not great. The beginning half and the leading up to it, I think is totally fine.
I agree.
So with that saying, I'm like, if they do Indiana Jones, 6 or 7 or whatever they decide to do, if they go to Mutt Williams' route, I'd rather him just take up the mantle, but not recast. Recast that character. Don't recast Indiana Jones. Basically what I'm saying. But enough about the movies.
Saying,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So you're saying you would be perfectly fine if this was a Metal Gear Solid 2 situation and we weren't playing as Indiana Jones, but Williams was the main character?
That is 100% what I'm saying. You didn't even know what shirt I was wearing. Yes, 100%. I actually have the Metal Gear Solid 2 shirt in the other room because it's for a friend. Yes, I actually wouldn't mind that. That'd be kind of cool. In terms of this game, I have hopes for it. Honestly, I mean, Machine Games, the only game that I guess has been like a downer for some people has been, I guess, Youngblood. And they did Youngblood, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Arcane had a big hand in that, from my understanding as well. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean, but then they have also done great things as well, and I'm excited for the next few things that they're doing too. So,
Deathloop looks awesome, dude.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess at the end of the day, this is a wait and see to see what it actually looks like to fully speculate. But I just can't. I'm in the excitement, the fact that Lucasfilms as a game thing now. Look, because they announced it yesterday, Lucasfilms Games is going to be like their moniker going forward. And it looks like they're breaking away not just from their EA deal that's going to end in a couple years. So that's exciting to me, and they could just reach out to people that are experienced and can tell great stories and do great things and add to this universe. And then they could do this also on the Indiana Jones side. Maybe one day we'll have a Willow game. Who knows?
My God. Dude.
Mario.
Nah, man, I'm go ahead.
I just said I need that.
I mean, you're getting the sequel TV show.
TV show.
Yeah, I heard they're gonna have to get a new director because of the delays, but I still have high hopes for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I love Willow.
Willow's great.
It's the best thing Lucasfilm's ever done.
It's phenomenal. I love Willow. I love Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's my God.
That's great.
He's my spirit animal. Love him since Real Genius. So good.
Tombstone, man.
No, yeah.
I just watched MacGruber.
Yes. He's so good, MacGruber too.
He's the bad guy, right?
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
That's right. Damn, dude, I have not seen that movie since it came out.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is a 100% Stan Val Kilmer podcast as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's have some closing thoughts, I guess, on Indiana Jones. I mean, Ricky, what is the last thing you want to leave on this?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I am like tentatively excited for this. It does, to me, I am a bigger Wolfenstein fan than I am Indiana Jones fan. So I just want Wolfenstein 3. So it's a little bit disappointing. You know, it's a little bit bittersweet to get this announcement. But when we see it, if it's what I expect it to be, which is like a full Machine Games going all out with it, then I'll be excited. But right now I'm like, I hope this is good. I hope it isn't bad. So I'm like halfway there. But if they make a Willow game, I am on board from day one.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, only time will tell, to be honest with that one. So, what's your studio that you want to make the Willow game? Will it be Machine Games? Well, probably won't be Machine Games.
Dang, who would make Willow? Well, I want to say. I mean, before Cyberpunk, I would say. CD Projekt Red.
Interesting. Okay.
But now I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, I played that on my PS5 and it was still rough on that, man.
I guess Obsidian, because I also wouldn't say Bethesda because of Fallout 4.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, Obsidian is my current pick, I guess.
Fair enough. And
maybe Larian.
Oh, okay.
Larian could do something with that.
I would say, man, if fucking a Lionhead was still around, I would have loved Willow.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm just breaking his heart. Nathan, any final thoughts?
Nah, man, I'm really excited. I mean, the big thing we gotta mention is this game is far out. You know, this is giving me Elder Scrolls 6 vibes, Starfield vibes, to where we're getting the announcement, get excited, but sit down, relax. It's not coming out anytime soon. So, I think it's good to have speculations right now, see where they're going to go. I think it's a great studio. I think that even with the mishaps Todd Howard has had in the past couple of years, I still think having him as an executive producer, one, it shows that they're willing to put a big budget behind this. And two, it shows that he's probably a big fan of the franchise. And you got Lucasfilm Games. We don't know how much control they're going to have over this. So if Insomniac's Spider-Man with Marvel Games is any indication of what Disney and what Disney's side of gaming is doing, I'm very excited.
The one thing that I think, and I know we're closing up, but the one thing I think we didn't think about and talked about yet is the fact that it's a Bethesda game, which is owned by Microsoft. This will be potentially a Microsoft exclusive if they decide to not make it multi-platform, which why would you? Especially since the direct competition to this is an Uncharted. So why not have your own Uncharted game? And fucking Game Pass. This is probably going to be on Game Pass day one. And
day one.
That's insane. I really hope this comes out before my Game Pass expires. I have it continued all the way up till like 2022, I think. So we'll see. Thank you so much. That's because of going to E3. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for the fact that I get to have these experiences and have them in new ways and with better technology than I had when I was a kid. As much as I know that a lot of people love those old Indiana Jones adventure games, I never really got a chance to play them. They were just not available at the time that I was, had any equipment or anything like that at the time.
Did you ever play Emperor's Tomb? Came out on like Xbox and PS2. It was pretty good.
No, I still never did.
It doesn't age well. But
I remember that in the magazine. I didn't even know that game came out.
No, dude, it was really fun.
That's crazy.
Also, another thing is, do you think that Machine Games might have two studios at this point? Kind of like how Bethesda's branched off into different studios? Because I know Ricky, you were kind of like, happy but sad because there's not going to be any more Wolfenstein potentially. But I could definitely see Machine Games splitting into two groups at this point.
Yeah, that's a definite. I mean, there will be another Wolfenstein game. They've already confirmed that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I think they definitely could split into two. I hope they split. Well, I don't know if I hope they split into two. I just hope Wolfenstein doesn't get pushed back anymore because I really
Yeah.
want to play that game. But yeah, you're definitely right. They could split into two,
For
or
sure.
at least have two teams. Yeah. Real quick before we end, I did want because I don't remember who said something about Todd Howard was interested or that it signified he was interested, but he did. I did see something today that said he's been trying to get this license for like the past 2 decades or decade or
Seriously?
something.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's very interested in making an Indiana Jones game.
He was straight up like, this belongs in my studio system.
Yeah.
So, all right. That gives me a little hope. I mean, the fact that he must have a huge reverence for this franchise and
Yeah.
he wants to oversee it, which he is. Like you said, it's the first time he's ever done anything with Machineworks in his, the branch of game studios that they have. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, like I said, my expectations are high. I rewatched all the movies. I'm completely caught up on the lore, except for the TV show, which I might start if I can find it. But ultimately, yeah, I'm fully in. I mean, I love Indiana Jones. I love the Uncharted games. I love the current iteration of the Tomb Raider games. So please, more games like that. That's all I can say. So
Agreed.
Okay. And with that, I think this will close out our discussion of the Indiana Jones Bethesda game, which is still a sentence I can't believe is real. I want to thank everyone for showing up today. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being here. Can you go ahead, pimp out your Twitter handle? Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, if they want to see me rant about politics or video games or movies, you can find me at GarthDude3.
Okay. And Ricky, where can we find you on the net? Anything you're working on? I know that you said that you've been doing some first 30s for us, actually.
Yeah.
Which you've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get more video content out for the site in addition to a bunch of, obviously like reviews and news, like my usual beat. And so when Michael Ruiz and I have some stuff kicking around the can right now. So if you want to see some writer boys try to be video boys, that should be coming out soon on our YouTube. I don't know how good it is, but it was fun to record. So yeah, just
I've given you free reign. I'm like, hey, just do. I love your first videos. I'm like, just do whatever you want. I'll post it. I don't care. I'll just say that it was Ricky's fault. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I like to think it's the good kind of dumb.
I love cutting the intros to those videos because I watch it for a minute, and then once you say something silly or funny, I just like immediately cut that. It's like, that's good for the video. Yeah. Thank you so much. And of course, you can find me here always doing some Dualshockers discussions throughout the videos that we do. You can find me on Twitter at @MarioRivera. And until next time, catch the nay. I don't know. I was trying to do like a solo, go solo, but no. All right. Goodbye. Close your eyes, Marion. Hello and welcome. Hold on, let me turn recording. All right, so your audio is coming through, and I think Ricky's on. Yeah, you're good. Okay, all right, here we go.